Have you ever questioned the way our society operates? That something feels off? That we're living in a system designed not to liberate us, but to control us? Every thought, every choice, every dream. If you've ever felt that way, you're not alone, because there's a truth few dare to face. We're living in a carefully crafted illusion. A great deception, the grand lie of modern society, where freedom is packaged in rules, knowledge is filtered by systems, and happiness is defined by consumption, status, and external validation. From the moment we're born, we're taught to believe in a single path: go to school, get a job, start a family, buy a house, retire, and call that a successful life. But how many of us stop to ask, why? Who set that standard? And is it really meant for you? In today's video, we're exposing the biggest deception modern society imposes on us, from education and media to what we think are personal choices. This isn't a conspiracy theory, it's a wake-up call. If you feel like the world is hiding something, then maybe you're starting to wake up. And once you begin to see the truth, you'll never look at the world the same way again. We're told we're living in the best time in human history, technological marvels at our fingertips, medicine that extends life, opportunities that our ancestors could only dream of. And yet, why does it still feel so empty? Imagine walking into a supermarket, shelves towering over you, filled with hundreds of cereal boxes. Chocolate-flavored, gluten-free, organic, sugar-loaded, oat-based, keto-approved. At first glance, it feels liberating. So many choices, so much freedom. But slow down. Ask yourself, who decided these were the choices you'd get in the first place? You didn't grow the grains. You didn't design the packaging. You didn't even question whether cereal is a healthy or meaningful way to begin your day. You just walked in and picked from a curated menu, pre-selected, pre-filtered, pre-approved. This is the illusion we live under. Modern society sells us a dream of freedom. Be whoever you want, do whatever you desire, but that dream is packaged like everything else, within invisible boundaries you're not supposed to question. Your career? Sure, you're free to choose from a list of roles the economy values. Want to be a painter, a philosopher, a healer? Go ahead, just make sure you can turn it into content, build a brand, monetize it, or the system will gently push you back into line. It whispers, yes, be unique, just not unprofitable. Even your opinions are shaped more than you think. We're told we have free speech, and we do, until your ideas make people uncomfortable, until they threaten the scaffolding of the system itself. The range of acceptable views is narrow, yet it's dressed up in vibrant language, safe hashtags, curated debates. So we confuse expression with freedom, not realizing we're coloring inside lines drawn for us long ago. It's not just about products, it's about programming. We're overwhelmed with options that all lead back to the same place: consumption, compliance, distraction. You have 50 brands of toothpaste, but do you have time to be still with your thoughts? You have 1,000 streaming shows, but do you feel emotionally fulfilled? You can scroll for hours, but do you know yourself? Real freedom isn't about having more things to choose from. It's about knowing you can question the choices themselves. It's the courage to ask, why this? Who benefits? What am I not being shown? And when you start asking those questions, something shifts. The noise fades, the veil lifts. You begin to realize the emptiness you feel isn't personal failure. It's the natural reaction to a system built on distraction, not depth. So the next time you're told you're lucky to live in this age of abundance, ask yourself, is this abundance, or is it a beautifully packaged prison? Consumerism sells you freedom wrapped in packaging. You can pick your clothes, your coffee, your phone wallpaper. But try stepping outside the unspoken rules of success, beauty, or productivity, and watch how quickly that freedom vanishes. The system smiles while handing you 1,000 flavors of the same idea. Conform, but feel like you're choosing. Think about social media. It promises you a platform, a voice, a digital stage to express yourself. But that voice is guided by algorithms that reward conformity, outrage, and superficiality. Say something real and you might get buried. Post something trendy and you might go viral. It's not expression, it's performance. Even rebellion is packaged now. Want to feel like a nonconformist? Great, there's a brand for that. There's a hoodie, a playlist, an aesthetic, and a hashtag. Modern rebellion often looks more like a marketing campaign than a movement. And here lies the most dangerous part of the illusion. You feel like you're free. You walk through life feeling like you're in control, never realizing the lanes were drawn long before you arrived. The illusion works so well because it rewards you just enough dopamine, just enough success, just enough applause, to keep you from asking, wait, is this really freedom? True freedom isn't about infinite options within a limited box. It's about seeing the box. It's about stepping outside of default modes and asking, why do I want what I want? Who benefits from my choices? That moment when you start to question, really question, is when the spell starts to break, because the greatest deception of modern society isn't control through force. It's control through illusion, through the comforting lie that you are already free. But real freedom begins only when you stop mistaking the menu for the meal. Picture this. You wake up, check your phone, scroll past a motivational quote. You have the same 24 hours as Elon Musk. Suddenly, your mind starts racing. Emails to reply to, tasks to check off, goals to chase. You feel behind even before brushing your teeth. Welcome to the productivity trap, a world where busyness has become a badge of honor, and your value is measured not by who you are, but by what you produce. Society applauds the grinders, the hustlers, the ones who never stop. We romanticize burnout and glorify sleep deprivation. We chase milestones not because they fulfill us, but because we're terrified of falling behind. The message is clear. Your worth is tied to your output. But who decided that? Since childhood, we've been conditioned to chase gold stars, good grades, promotions, likes, shares. We internalized a dangerous equation. More doing equals more value. And over time, it became our reality, not because it's true, but because it's repeated. So often that we stop questioning it. And here's the twist. The system is designed this way. The more insecure you feel, the more productive you try to be. You buy planners, apps, and online courses. You hustle harder, thinking one more achievement will finally bring peace. But peace never comes because the bar keeps moving. It's a treadmill with no off switch. Even leisure has been hijacked. Reading a book, better make yourself, going for a walk, track your steps, doing nothing. That's laziness, unless you can rebrand it as mindful recovery. We've forgotten how to exist without a purpose, without an agenda, just exist. But the truth is, you are not a machine. You were never meant to operate at maximum efficiency every hour of every day. Nature doesn't bloom all year long. Why should you? Productivity culture masks itself as empowerment, but in reality, it often reinforces a quiet slavery, one where you willingly chain yourself to tasks convinced you're free, where rest becomes guilt and stillness feels like failure. This isn't just a mental trap, it's a psychological identity crisis. We're not addicted to work, we're addicted to being seen as useful, to being validated. But if your entire identity is built on being productive, what happens when you stop? Who are you when you're not doing? Here's a radical thought. You are already enough, even when you do nothing, even when you're still. You don't have to earn rest. You don't have to justify being. Existence is not a performance. You are not here to meet a quota. The most revolutionary act in a world addicted to hustle might just be doing nothing on purpose. So, the next time your mind whispers, "You're not doing enough," answer it gently, "Maybe I'm doing exactly what I need to." Because freedom isn't always loud. Sometimes it's the quiet moment when you realize you've stepped off the treadmill and the world didn't end. Who are you? It's a simple question, but try to answer it and watch how quickly your mind reaches for labels. I'm a student. I'm a manager. I'm a mother. I'm creative. I'm introverted. I'm ambitious. We speak in titles, roles, and traits as if they fully define us. But where did these identities come from? Did we choose them, or were they handed to us like uniforms on the first day of school? From the moment you're born, the world starts shaping your sense of self. Your gender is assigned, your culture is stamped onto you, your name is whispered over and over until you internalize it as me. You learn what's praised, what's punished, what gets love, and you adjust accordingly. You become what's accepted, a good child, a smart student, a hard worker. Little by little, the real you is traded for something safer, more palatable, a version of you that fits neatly into a world that doesn't like mess or mystery. But here's the thing, identity isn't discovered, it's constructed and modern. Society has become a master architect. Social media, education systems, advertising. They don't just reflect who you are, they tell you who you should be. You scroll past filtered faces and curated lifestyles, and somewhere deep inside, a quiet voice asks, should I look like that too? You wear clothes, not just to stay warm, but to say something about yourself. You buy a phone, a car, a coffee brand, not just for function, but for identity. You speak a certain way, follow trends, post updates, because whether you realize it or not, you're constantly announcing, this is who I am. Please believe me. It's not your fault. We all do it because we've been conditioned to think of identity as a product, something that must be marketed, polished, and liked. In a world driven by algorithms, your sense of self becomes content. Every photo, every status, every story is part of the performance. You're not just living, you're curating a narrative. But what happens when the performance becomes the reality? What happens when you've played the role so well for so long that you forget who you were before the script, before the mask? Here's the unsettling truth. Most people never meet their true self. They live and die inside roles crafted for survival, not authenticity. They confuse who they are with what they've been told to be. But every now and then, maybe during a moment of solitude, maybe in the middle of a breakdown, the mask slips. You catch a glimpse of something raw, something unpolished, a version of you that doesn't need to impress or prove. That's the real you, the one beneath the noise. It doesn't mean you must reject every role you've taken on. Some identities serve a purpose, but when they start to cage you, when they silence your deeper questions, that's when it's time to ask, who am I without all this? Try this. Sit in silence. No music, no phone, no distractions, just you. Ask, if no one was watching, what would I still care about? What would I still love? What would I stop doing? That's where your real identity lives. Not in your job title, not in your bio, but in the quiet knowing that you're more than the roles you play. You were never meant to be a brand. You were meant to be a human. And the most liberating journey you'll ever take is the one back to yourself. We love comfort, the soft bed, the hot shower, the instant food, the one-click delivery. A world where you barely need to move, wait, or wonder. And why wouldn't we love it? Comfort feels good, safe, familiar. But beneath its warm blanket lies a cold truth. Comfort can be a cage, because comfort isn't neutral. It shapes us, it dulls our edges. And when overindulged, it begins to numb the very instincts that lead to growth. Take a look around. Every innovation is designed to reduce effort. Why walk when you can ride? Why cook when you can order? Why talk when you can scroll? In the name of efficiency, we've traded friction for fluidity. But friction is where change happens. It's where muscles grow, minds stretch, and identities evolve. The illusion of comfort tells us we're thriving while we're actually just surviving in a padded room. Everything is made easy except the things that really matter. Growth still hurts. Truth still stings. Real connection still takes effort. But when you've been fed dopamine on demand, even slight discomfort feels like pain. We lose our tolerance for silence, for challenge, for boredom. And in doing so, we lose the ability to sit with life, to wrestle with it, question it, reshape it. Comfort doesn't just protect us from danger. It protects us from awareness. Why reflect when you can binge? Why confront your emotions when you can numb them with noise? Why risk the unknown when the known is so comfortable? That's the real danger. Not that comfort makes us lazy, but that it makes us content with less than we're capable of. You stop dreaming, not because you don't want more, but because what you have is good enough. You stop fighting, not because you've won, but because the couch is too soft and the screen too bright. And here's the scary part. The system knows this. A comfortable population is a controllable one. When people are fed, entertained, and distracted, they're less likely to question, to resist, to wake up. Comfort pacifies rebellion. It smooths the rough edges of society into a quiet hum. So no, comfort isn't evil, but unquestioned comfort. That's a slow anesthetic. It lulls you to sleep while life passes by just outside your window. The antidote? Choose discomfort. Not recklessly, but deliberately. Do hard things, not for the result, but for the reminder that you can. Sit with boredom, question convenience, break the loop. Because real life, the raw, vibrant, unpredictable kind, lives just beyond the edge of comfort. And maybe, just maybe, the life you're truly meant for is hiding in the place you've been avoiding the most. At some point, in the midst of all the noise, the screens, the opinions, the goals, the roles, you begin to feel it. A strange emptiness. Not loud, not dramatic, just subtle, like a room that used to be filled with music but now echoes with silence. It creeps in during quiet moments, when you're driving alone, when the movie ends, when you're lying in bed staring at the ceiling, and the distractions finally go still. That's when it whispers, "Is this really me?" Because somewhere along the way, you forgot. You forgot who you were before the world told you who to be, before the schedules, the labels, the identities took over, before success became urgent and authenticity became optional. This is the tragedy of the modern mind. We know the price of everything but the value of nothing. We can name celebrities, stocks, trends, but struggle to name our own needs. We live in a world of hyperconnectivity and yet feel deeply alone with ourselves. Why? Because we've abandoned the self, the real one, the one behind the masks, the child who once stared at clouds, got lost in drawings, asked questions just for wonder's sake, the version of you that existed before the algorithms, before the applause, before the world taught you to perform. And the worst part? We didn't even notice it slipping away. Modern society doesn't demand that you forget yourself. It simply keeps you too busy to remember. From the moment you wake up, you're plugged in. The calendar tells you who you are today. The phone tells you what matters. And the world applauds the version of you that's most useful to it, not necessarily the version that's most you. But here's the truth that no one profits from telling you. You are not your productivity. You are not your opinions. You are not your profile. You are something far deeper. A living, breathing consciousness with dreams that weren't sold. To you and feelings that don't need to be filtered. And the way back is not through achievement. It's through attention. If this message resonates with something inside you, something quiet, something long ignored, consider subscribing to the channel. This isn't just another place for content. It's a space for clarity, for courage, for truth. Here we don't skim the surface. We dig deep beneath the noise, beneath the conditioning, beneath the stories you've been told about who you're supposed to be. If you're on a journey back to yourself, know this: you're not alone. And you don't have to walk it alone. Let's walk it together. Now, let's return to someone important. You, the real you, the one you may have forgotten. Reconnecting with that self doesn't mean quitting your job, selling your belongings, or moving to a mountain. It begins with small, radical moments of honesty. It happens when you sit quietly, choosing stillness over endless scrolling. It begins when you write something, not for likes, not for validation, but to hear your own thoughts again. It's in those moments when you say no, not because it's the strategic thing to do, but because it's the true thing. And maybe most profoundly, it happens when you allow yourself to do absolutely nothing and still know deep down that you are enough. Because the self doesn't scream for your attention, it whispers. To hear it, you must slow down. Step off the stage, close the tabs, mute the noise of the world, and in that stillness something sacred awakens. You remember what you love, not because it's trending, but because it makes your heart beat differently. You remember what you fear, not because someone told you it's bad, but because it holds a mirror to your growth. You remember what matters, not for status, but for soul. And in that remembering, you begin asking new questions. Not what should I do next, but who do I want to be when no one's watching? That's the moment you begin to reclaim your humanity. Not just surviving the day, not just checking the boxes, but feeling fully alive again. And as that fire returns, something beautiful happens. The illusion begins to fall apart. The illusion of freedom that's really just performance. The illusion of worth tied to output. The illusion of identity based on curated masks. All of it starts to lose its grip. You begin to wake up, not just from sleep, but from the trance of a life you never truly chose. And in that awakening, you become dangerous, not violent, liberated. Dangerous to systems built on your silence. Dangerous to narratives that thrive on your obedience. Dangerous in the most powerful, beautiful way, because a person who truly knows themselves cannot be controlled. They don't chase, they choose. This was the great deception of modern society, to make you forget. But now you remember. And once you remember, you cannot unremember. Welcome back to yourself. We're so glad you're here. What did you think about today's video? Feel free to share your thoughts and experiences in the comments below. Thank you for watching. If this video opened your mind or helped you see reality in a new light, don't forget to like and subscribe to Top Hidden Knowledge, so you never miss our next deep dive into mystery, perception, and the hidden workings of our universe. And if you have time, explore more videos on our channel. We're just getting started. Until next time, stay curious, stay aware, and never stop questioning the world around you.